Hello, lovely people. So today I'm making a video about a very important astrological event and the Mayan calendar and how it connects together. It's Sunday, the 31st of July, 2022, and the time is 11:37 a.m. in the UK. So I'm just going to start with where we are in the calendar and just some amazing synchronicities today showing up, fascinating numbers. So we're here and we're on the 9th day of the World Bridger wave spell, and that means we're on the 14th Mayan sign and the number 9 tone of it, the vibration of the gateway of the goddess, the moon goddess Ixchel. White Wizard is the name that we use, and it's the asteroid belt. So I've made a chart for today and I've included some asteroids in there, which I'll come back to in a moment. And remember, all of these signs are in pairs, and she is paired with number 5, Red Serpent. And so they both share the asteroids, and the serpent mind, the limbic system, the kundalini, how our body is showing us what gets on our nerves, for example, putting it in plain language, and key to relationship, how we've been related to as a child, and then how we are working our way through that as a Skywalker, making a shift around our ancestral patterning. So White World Bridger is also the 13-day process that we are in for the Mayan New Year that began on the 26th of July. And if you remember, we can cross-pollinate all of these with the Gregorian calendar. And if you look on my website, flowwithjo.com, there's some spirals on there with previous dates, so that you can cross-wire those. Also with my ebooks that I share from time to time, I use with people on a one-to-one basis, with women in particular. And that's a reference for the year that they are in, so that they can work out very specific information and bring it to conscious awareness, which is what this time is all about, being consciously aware. So a lot of other modalities around healing don't necessarily do that. They don't awaken people to their conscious awareness of their patterns. And I believe it's absolutely crucial to do that, so that we know what has harmed us as human beings, and then how we can heal that and how we can create new ways of being from that clear space, new behaviors. Very, very important at this time, not to keep going with the old scripts and to change that. Okay, so the previous time we were in this dynamic is red self-existing moon was 1970. So if you think back to what was happening for you then, if you're on the planet, or what was happening to your parents, for example, if you weren't, if it's before your time. And so key points in every 13-day process are number 1, number 5, and number 9. They're key gateways. And so whenever you're in a white, these are going to be the same. Okay, so this is really crucial information. And so if we look at red moon as being, there's a world bridger coming in. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got white dog. Okay, and then now we're on day 9. We've got white wizard. And so again, I have worked experientially with this with my own cycles. And so if you know what your 13-year cycle is, on year 1 of it, you're going to be initiating that. Year 5, you're going to be mastering that. And then year 9, you can step through a gateway if you're ready to do what it takes to work on your inner world and your healing and your empowerment. So in order to create harmony, heal the harm, rather than trying to create it outside of yourself, which is how we've been programmed. So a lot of the programming around our cultural process has to be discarded and unlearned so we can create a new way of being. And this can be sticky at times, but this is essential for people to do this, is to do the healing, to come into truth, alignment with the goddess, and start doing things that are healthy for the human being. So in the same way, what we've got the moon, back to the moon, number 4, 1970, 1971, 1972, 1973, 1974. So today we're on 1975, which is the last time it was a solar wizard year. And remember, the tribe for the planetary shift for the human being is red moon, white wizard, blue storm, and yellow seed. And they have all their energies interlinked. So Ixchel, the moon goddess, is about midwifery. It's about going through a gateway of purification, healing our disempowerment issues and taking our power back. So today I've put in I call her, and as an asteroid, and I've also put in Isis as an asteroid. So I'm just going to bring the chart up in a moment. But over the last few days, it could be that it's been really intense for you, and now today especially it can be even more intense, bigger lessons and bigger experiences if you are still working through key empowerment issues, and hey, who isn't? Okay, so with the Mayan signs today, again, great synchronicities here. So we've got number 7, mystical power, which again relates to the 7th Mayan sign, which is blue hand, shaping our destiny, transformation. Step 7, also known as resonance. So again, if you go back to the original 20 Mayan signs, which you get in the first 13 days of Red Dragon, which begins here, which began on the 19th of May. You get the first 13. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, blue hand. How we shape our destiny here on planet Earth through healing, learning tools such as astrology, cosmology, numerology, most importantly, healing tools and EFT for me, tapping, clearing the old trauma stories from the amygdala, because that is absolutely essential in my understanding. So we go through till we get to the Skywalker, number 13, and then we begin the mastery steps. Okay, so that's the number sequencing that I'm using if you're brand new to this. And I try and share a little bit of it with each video, but there's a lot it's very complex. And the best way to learn it, in my opinion, is the way that I've learned it. I've been doing it for 11 years, is you get a calendar and you move the blue tack every day and you tune in. Because this is a synergizer with natural cycles, and it helps us with that unlearning process, that empowerment process, so that we actually remember who we really are. And then we're not here to do some 3D material manifestation. Some of that is important, but if we get hooked in on that belief system this can really bring us down in many ways with a mindset that we're not successful, that we failed because we're not actually matching the success model in the 3D. But the success model in the 3D is delusional, illusional, and does not give us a transformation process as to connecting to our spiritual being, and that being on board more and more and accessible more and more to us to guide us. Because whilst we're stuck in very 3D earthly material programming, it simply does not match the other way of living, which is from the heart. And again, not fluffy or not practical either. That is not what I'm talking about. But it's realizing that a lot of things that we have become accustomed to are not good for us and do not serve us. And if you're watching this video, and I'm guessing that you are really working on a deep level and busting through these old ways of being that our ancestors have had for thousands of years, which has meant, as we can see in history, we keep going round and round in circles, because on a personal level, we go round and round in circles. We don't get off the labyrinth. We don't get off the 12-step program. And we have codependency. We have power imbalance. So we're here to do this. And as a human being, persona and body, we are a chariot for the soul. So again, I'll put a link to that because this is a huge card. Again, if you look at the synchronicity, what number is that? It's number 7, the same as Blue Hand. And again, these are huge cards. You can see the crab on his head and the armor that he's wearing. And so the crab, again, the Cancerian, the 4th house, the home, the place that we grew up in, that created our conditioning in a big way as to how we learned how to relate and how we were related to and how that made us feel and how that was a lot of shadow stuff passed on. We've also got number 6, victory, wands. And again, you look at the detail on there. If you're not familiar with these cards, check them out because they're amazing. They have a lot of astrology there. They're very, very deep. And it's a very ancient system as well. All of this is about remembering rather than learning new stuff, but unlearning what we've been programmed with. And we've got the Princess of Discs. And again, how I see her is, if you look at as a young woman or as the feminine side of a man, a young man, how we have learned thought processes and behaviors around how we manifest things, how we create things. And a more mature version of that on an intellectual level, of course, is a Queen of Swords, sovereignty around thoughts, mindsets, and cutting off the head as to the old ways of being and thinking. The programming. This is essential to become free, and this is where EFT comes in. Okay, so I'm going to bring the chart up now. Okay, so here we are, and again, just love this. Been doing other things this morning, and just noticing how my head has an idea about how it wants to do things as to the old programming. And more I've learned over my time, especially in Glastonbury, to trust what my body does instead. and trust that I need to do these videos as well at a certain time. And I'm doing it at the heart meridian time, of course, as well of Leo. And I am a Leo. And so this is key as well, is to body wisdom and embodiment rather than letting your head guide you, often from a place of the past experience, what it knows, comfort zone. And this is death on one level. Good to keep the wisdom and good to let go of the old programming around fear, because otherwise we keep doing the same stuff. Okay, so again, looking at these wonderful synchros of numbers here coming up. So first of all, we've got the sun at 8 degrees of Leo. And so again, 8 being as above, so below. And you can see the picture behind me. That's what attracted me to that. In some ways, that can be seen as Gemini energy. It can also be seen as Vesica Pisces. It can also be seen as the 8th zodiac sign, Scorpio. It can be the 8th house in your chart here, which is where everything's going on today. And the North Node being in Taurus and the South Node being in Scorpio. And this is the power struggle axis around what's going to survive, around changing our survival responses, changing our structure around that to manifest something new. This is what this 260-day cycle is about how to recognize what we manifest and how to change that. So sun and moon, Virgo being at 8 degrees, again, Virgo being the sacred feminine, untouched by the human mind on one level, which has been so distorted. To be pure, to be connected to the goddess. And that doesn't necessarily mean on a virginal sexual level at all. It just means that the person has autonomy and freedom away from the conditioned mindset and lives from that place of freedom as well. So again, lots of different ways to look at that energy. So just looking at the numbers for now. So we've got Mercury at 23 degrees of Leo. And so I have Mercury in Leo. The more you know about your codes as well, that can be so transformational. And that's building to my Leo sun, which is at 25 degrees. And so in your cosmic code chart, you can look at so many ways. It's limitless and it's so magical. So we've got Taurus at 17 degrees for Mars, and so that's building to this close conjunction today of 18 degrees. This legendary time, very powerful. So just be very aware of what's happening for you today on a personal level. There may be other things happening on the planet that are huge around that as well. We've got Jupiter at 8 degrees of Aries, that's retrograde now. So again, integration of the hero and heroine story, mastery of that, new beginnings. We've got Saturn at the Master Builder Goddess Code, 22 degrees of Aquarius, retrograde, going over old ground, what we need to be aware of as to the rewiring of the Goddess Code. And again, this is about the female energy rather than focusing on purely women. This is the sacred feminine coming back into balance for all of us. The more that we heal, the more that we become balanced with our masculine and feminine on a personal level, then the more that we experience harmony and empowerment. Uranus at 18 degrees Taurus, Neptune 25 degrees Pisces retrograde. So again, add those numbers together. You've got the number 7. What is coming to light around good boundaries, esoteric wisdom rather than delusion and illusion. Pluto's at 27 degrees Capricorn. Add them together, you've got number 9. The gateway of the goddess, again retrograde, going round over these old stories. North node at 18 degrees Taurus. Chiron at 16 degrees Aries. Add them together, number 7, number 9. Chiron retrograde, we're going back over old ground with our wounding story. Who am I? Parts of fortune, 9 degrees of Scorpio. Remember, if we don't heal our intimacy issues and be around people who we can have honest connection with on every level, you can't be in an intimate relationship with somebody who you can't be honest with. It's impossible. So that is something to be very aware of. The vertex point is at 22 degrees of Aries, master builder number. Lilith at 11 degrees of Cancer, so what we need to let go of there. Ceres at 3 degrees of Leo, co-creation with our heart and embodiment again of the spirit. Juno at 21 degrees of Pisces, retrograde, so again we're going over old ground, especially in long-term relationships around boundaries, Christ consciousness, clear of codependent patterns. How may I is at 27 degrees of Libra, number 9. And Isis is at 3 degrees of Leo. So she's at the same degree of Ceres. And if you look up Isis' story, so again, for me, I just look at the letters, it is what it is. And her story, her fragmentation story, wherever Isis is in your chart, is where something has happened to you, where you've had, you can call it a soul fragmentation, you can call it disassociation if you want to use another framework. It's where something has happened and there usually is a time frame around that in childhood where you weren't able to cope with it. And so it's essential to rediscover at a later age when it's the right time for you to be able to integrate. So remember, all these numbers, 8s, are about integration. And we have, looking in the 10th house, there's the sun, 8 degrees of Leo. Isis is within 8 degrees. So again, Isis, in my experience, is around letting go of the bullshit. And Ceres is there as well. This is the heart's desire to heal. In terms of the 10th Mayan sign, this is white dog. This is a manifestation. And we also, in the 10th house there, we have got Venus at 16 degrees of Cancer. So all of these, this is what we're looking to manifest, number 10. And in the natural zodiac, that is Capricorn. Now, also here, so in the 11th house, we've got the moon in Virgo. So 8 degrees, letting go of these mindsets. If you've got moon in Virgo, you may find that you're often very critical of yourself. You can get stuck in perfection and in your head rather than in your heart and your body. Remember, the ego is designed to keep us alive. And so often it tries to avoid feelings here and try and think through things from that stuck place rather than feeling the feelings and then becoming clear and getting a different answer from source. And so we've got Lilith there is in the 9th house. That's the gateway point. What do you need to let go of? What's your emotional story that's pulling you out, pulling you back. How may I? 27 degrees, add them together, you get 9. In Libra, in the first house. So this is a midwifery point for the moon goddess Ixchel. And so when we came in, when we were very young, what is seeking to be healed? The ascendant here is at 9 degrees of Libra. Libra is the shadow story. Heal the harm, come into harmony, rather than trying to create it. Often bridging the gap for others, often having ideas before their time, wherever Libra is in your chart. This is our Taurus energy as well. So the solution is already there. We're working towards it. Scorpio in the second house. This is the new learning around intimacy. This is the part of fortune is coming into balance with our sun sign, our personality, wherever that is in your chart, and your rising sign. In order for them to create this harmony, they need to be singing from the same hymn sheet. Very important. So in order to create this integration, this north node here at 18 in the 8th house, in my part of the world, in Glastonbury, and Mars here as well. So all this integration around being practical. Again, Taurus energy very much around anger, can be anger issues, healing those and creating practical down to earth solutions from that place of reality. We cannot heal and create new beginnings until we accept where we are. Truly, as frustrating as that may be, that's where the beginning is. We can't go anywhere else until we accept where we are now. Now, if you can see, we've got 2 green lines here, which are called inconjuncts, and they're often themes. And they've got a meeting point there, right on that gateway through from the 8th to the 9th house. It's right on there. And if you look at what's causing this dynamic, this tension point, this breakthrough of integration, you have got Neptune retrograde at 25 degrees of Pisces, is going across to Mercury in Leo at 23 degrees. So what higher self connection can we make around delusions, illusions, the love language, the truth, the spirit coming in? What do we keep going round and round? The merry-go-round, the labyrinth of that keeps coming up for us again because we haven't made the changes that we need to make. We haven't gone through that gateway yet in the way that takes us to a whole different level. Taking the small steps, this is the key. And here, so again in the 6th house, where we've also got Juno retrograde, so we're going over these long-term relationship points again, shadow stories. We've got Jupiter retrograde as well at 8 degrees of Aries, which goes back to 2010, 2011. And this crossover point going back to, again, this moon in Virgo, this old mindset, this present way of thinking, which we've inherited from our culture, from our family, from our genes, our biology of belief. So these dynamics, these tension stories have to be cleared, have to be understood, raised to conscious awareness and cleared. Mastery of Saturn there in Aquarius at 22 degrees in the 5th house, traditionally Leo, and our childhood. So traditionally, the 8th Mayan sign is yellow star, being the star that we really are. Understanding these cosmic codes, this is a map to navigate for us. And the 9th house Number 9 is red moon. It's the original, taking us to a whole different level when we're ready to be authentic, when we're ready to be the beacon of light and be truth, live truth, how to be in our power, assertive. And red moon 52-day cycle is in the green castle. So down here. So red awakening, white refining, blue transforming, yellow manifestation, and green the castle of the heart. The mastery of all of these. This process that is eternal. And for the human being, again, we can use this amazing tool all the time to go through these gateways and use this amazing way of synchronizing with the universe. So this powerful cycle today for you, what is it bringing up for you around what you want to manifest, what you're here for? And on many levels, this is the same for all of us, to be free of conflict, to live a joyful, happy life, to be healthy, to feel love. And that, of course, is there for us at all times. Only our personal storyline gets in the way of that, because it's meant to. We're meant to be working with our personal storyline in order to free our lineage from that stuck place. This does take a lot of work. It takes a lot of understanding. And often this can be really tricky in the beginning, because depending on what your circumstances are, what your age is, who's in your life. So if, for example, you're a parent, you can have your hands full with the basic practicalities. And of course, in the Mayan framework, you get to age 52, you've done your 4 13-year cycles. And ideally at that point, you're fairly free to then focus on this time, because you're an elder and you're going to be revisiting year 0 at 52, at 53, year 2, and so on, with hopefully a different mindset and a healed perception more and more every day as you get triggered, heading towards the goddess, Taurus energy, the Pleiades, the Seven Sisters. Again, just look up their story and apply it to yourself. This is the most important focus. Apply it to yourself. It's about the individual, because the only thing we can change truly is ourselves. So I hope you have a really magical, empowering day, and notice whatever triggers you, wherever you're feeling challenged. This is the solution. This is the gateway point. This is pointing you back through all of time, and you have the power. You can learn how to change this. All the tools are here, and you absolutely can do this. This is what you're here for, to do this at this time. So lots of love to you. Remember, you're here and you can absolutely do this. All the magic is there, all the secrets are there. We have to reprogram our mind to surrender to divine wisdom and trust the process. Take action every day, heal every day, and change our habits, change our behaviors so that we can be well. We're always loved and we're always held. Lots of love.